Hello and welcome to Issues of the Day, where we discuss key issues in the news. I am Grace Ayoyeniko. Joining me in the studio today are our regular guest, Mr. Rashid Oniyonge, political commentator. You're welcome, sir.
Good day, how are you?
And Mr. Demola Adeniro, our in-house editor. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Liz.
Now the headlines from our news updates. APC's Muslim ticket sparks fresh debates. Abducted Oyo school children, teachers regain freedom. And Zamfara launches $200 million lithium processing plant. Now to the issues. President Bola Tinubu's decision to retain Vice President Kashim Shettima as his running mate for the 2027 presidential election has renewed debate over the All Progressive Congress Muslim ticket. The APC's confirmation ends months of speculation that Tinubu might choose a Northern Christian as his vice presidential candidate. The move has revived discussion over whether Nigeria's leadership should reflect religious balance or be based on competence. Critics argue that the same faith ticket does not represent the country's religious diversity, while supporters insist the performance should take priority. Tinubu and Shettima won the 2023 presidential election despite similar concerns, defeating Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, and Rabiu Kwankwaso of the New Nigeria People's Party. The issue is expected to remain a key topic on political activities ahead of the 2027 general election. Gather pace. Now our question. Mr. Oniyonge, I want to ask you. There were speculations that that President Tinubu was likely going to pick a Christian Northerner as his vice for the 2027 general election. But to our surprise, he picked his still vice president to be his running mate. So what's your take on that?
I don't know why you say you're surprised, because there shouldn't be any surprise there. It would be unprecedented to drop your VP going into the election. I mean, what makes it not okay to actually for the president to drop himself and let a Christian become the president rather than the VP? I think what matters now is no longer Nigeria's diversity. It is Nigeria's interests, economic interests, the broader interest of building a society where, at the anthem says, no man is oppressed. We have to begin to identify, in terms of our core socio-economic interests, rather than doing political balance. If it is going to benefit us, we have a Muslim ticket. Let's have it. But I'm not somebody who does not understand the reality of the country and the necessity to satisfy every single Nigerian regarding the choices about policy and even leadership. So I wouldn't say it is irrelevant. I'm simply saying that what is more relevant and should be our priority at this point is the broader socioeconomic interest. Okay, you might say, okay, what about balancing with Christianity,
Yes,
tribe,
and
and all
yes,
that?
to at least to
Well,
satisfy
let's
the religious
be
aspect
let's
of
be
it.
let's be clear about one thing. The Constitution mentions diversity. It did not specifically mention religious balancing or ethnic balance. It simply said appointments should reflect the diversity of the country, which means there is a consciousness that we're a very, very diverse country, and that it will help if we reflect this diversity in some of the things we do, especially when it comes to leadership. The reality we are facing now is that we have a president who is Muslim, we have a vice president who is also a Muslim. But there's a reason for that. There's a need to balance geopolitically.
Exactly. I was going
Okay.
to add that there's need for
There
balance.
was a need to balance
There's need for
geopolitically
balance
at that
because
time.
as it is now, we know the situation, how tense.
Yes, but
And you cannot actually separate religion from politics. As it is
yes,
now.
you can.
You can't
But,
separate
but
it.
let me quickly say this: that how has a Muslim ticket benefited Nigeria?
That is another question. I think I
Yes.
should allow Mr. Adeniro to come in here. What is it about competence, or we should begin to ask what exactly have we benefited from a Muslim ticket? Because when they were coming, it was as though wow, something new was going to come. But here we are. So please,
I think the
let's
two,
have your view.
I think the two biggest religions in Nigeria are big sports. Just like I think the three biggest ethnic group in Nigeria are sport as well. We discussed Nigeria politically. I think it's divided into two religions and three regions.
Three regions.
How about people who don't practice Islam
Or
or Christianity? You know, so where is this conversation coming from? I think, like I said, like he said, majorly, we should be looking at competency rather than where you are from or what you do. If you look at Nigeria is of course.
So I will have to ask you before you say something. Doesn't it look like some people are being excluded from?
There's no exclusion.
Because ordinarily it should have been about inclusivity. Everybody has to be inclusive.
When you say everybody,
because the Christian will feel sidelined, isn't it?
Can I just
okay? Please say something.
I know you have to act like the devil's advocate in this conversation, but it is important for you to underline that the representatives that we have in terms of politically in Nigeria, it did not start and end with the presidency. They are state governors, they are House of Rep members, they are councillors, they are House of Assembly members. But anytime it is the center, there is a big hoopla over who represents us, what color is from, and wherever. But let's not forget, the people making this noise, particularly when it comes to religion, are either Christians. When the Christian wants to lead Nigeria, there will be noise from the Muslims. When the Muslim want to lead Nigeria, there will be noise from the Christians. But those little or other religious group, they tend not to be bothered about this. If you look at ethnicity as well, if it is a northerner that is of Hausa Fulani, even though I don't believe in those two combinations, that is of Hausa Fulani extracts, there will be noise from one particular region. If it's from the southwest too, there will be noise. If from the north, there will be noise. How about those little minority groups
that are not talking?
That are not talking? So when we say inclusivity, we are just being political, masking it as if you are fighting for the right of the entire Nigeria when it's actually your own interest you are projecting. Secondly, in Nigeria currently, there are about 20 state governors that are Christians out of the 36 states, including if you want to include the FCC, then we have a Christian who is leader as well. And there are about 21 deputy governors that are Christians. Of those deputy governors, 20 of those deputy governors are from the south. There is no Muslim representation in the south of Nigeria at all, in each of the state houses, in the capital cities of the southern states in Nigeria. But we are not hearing any upla. But when is the center, we just bring out of the problem. For me, as far as I'm concerned, competence. How has this representation, either religious or
how has it benefited Nigerians?
The Nigerians?
What have we gained?
That is the point.
That should be the question we should be asking.
But there's something we shouldn't forget.
Okay.
And I sound like I'm speaking from both sides of my head. We have North South, we have this thing, which is what the template we have now.
Okay.
So, but the Tinubu Shetima ticket is the present reality, and they are running for election. They are not coming with fresh. So we cannot talk about, rejigging again. That ticket worked the first time around, in spite of all the objections. Okay. Now, if a contestant like Atiku or Obi wants to do that balance, and people find that important enough or appealing enough to vote for them on the basis of that alone.
That's election.
They can go out and do so. But I'm telling you, if you ignore competence, if you ignore our core interest, and the people who can best serve those interests, and you say, I'm going to vote for this guy because he's a Muslim, or I'm going to vote for this guy because he's a Christian, then we are not going to get anywhere in this country. Because that shouldn't be the primary criteria for voting for a candidate.
Exactly. All right. Thank you so much. So we'll go to this our second story for the day. All the children and teachers abducted during the May 15 attack on Ahoro Isele community in Oriire local government area of Oyo State have regained their freedom. The victims were kidnapped after heavily armed gunmen invaded the community and abducted 46 pupils, teachers, and principal of a secondary school, sparking widespread concern across the country. The incident turned tragic a day later when one of the abducted teachers, Mr. Michael Oyedoku, was reportedly beheaded by the kidnappers. Authorities have now confirmed the release of the remaining victims. However, a detail of the operations, including whether any suspects were arrested or if the ransom was paid, have not been disclosed. Junior, we really are appreciative of the fact that these children have been released. The tension all over, and just by weekend we heard stories that these children have been released. It's credit to the Tinubu administration. And what do you think led to the the successful release of these adopted pupils and teachers?
Well, like you said, you have to commend this administration and the security officials for being very determined and bring this children back. All of them by the van that was beheaded from the first instance, yes. From my research and from what I see in the open, it was, the first demand they brought, these people, these terrorists, when they came, abducted these children, was for the federal government to release some of their commanders who are already in jail, who Nigeria has jailed. And when it happened and they beheaded that teacher, the principal, the federal government, DSS and security operatives, I heard from one former DSS operating officer who said that the federal government rounded up all their family members attached to this. Yes. So they already have them profiled. That was the story. Yes. So rounded them up and then did a video, said, look, if you touch any of these abductees that are with you, we are going to do the same thing to your family. And I think that made them bold. And yes, it really helped. And at the end of the day, they absconded, of which 8 of them were caught. So in the line of fire, we had one officer losing his life. So when I now see the tone of Nigerians changing on social media that it was staged, it really showed how.
I was going to ask you, sir, I didn't get that question. I want you to please comment on this.
Okay, so let me allow you ask me so that I can now come in later.
Okay, Mr. Niyogi, people are saying the social media is on fire as we are talking. That people are saying that they were not released, they were not rescued in the release. What's the difference between when they are released and when they are rescued? On your own view over this matter, what do you think exactly is the situation?
I have been at the periphery of kidnapping before, when some of my relatives were kidnapped in the Kaduna and the MO of this was during Buhari. So the police will often come out and say, you are arrested. That is not totally true. At the end of the day, some kind of arrangement was made. Hostages were released. We all know that these bandits are in need for money, and they need to be convincing about their threats to kill people. They are ready to kill people. But we must understand one thing, that if the government says we didn't pay ransom, maybe the only person who can see the playground, rather the family. And because of this very kidnap was so politically charged because it happened during a political, um, uh, to say campaign
Exactly. When yes.
period. A lot of the politicians were using it as political leverage to call attention to the government's quote unquote incompetence. Now, when the government rescued, you can still say quote unquote, these people and even caught some of the kidnappers at the cost of one military personnel. People who are saying that government was incompetent find it extremely hard to believe that government could have done that without some kind of arrangement behind the scenes. Some even went as far as to say that the rescue was staged, that nobody was rescued, that well, these are people who didn't doubt the fact that people
They were kidnapped from
are
beginning.
now doubting that people were rescued. It's unfortunate, and it really does point out to how much we have allowed political differences, ethnic differences, religious differences to basically modulate our human sympathy, our humanity itself, to the point where we no longer care about whether people die or we don't know the need or the misery they go through in the bush. We simply come out and talk anyhow about whether they were even kidnapped in the first place. If they weren't kidnapped, why are people making noise about it? If they weren't rescued, why are people saying that they were saved? Okay. What is important is that get these people. One very prominent social media activist even went as far as to say that government should provide
CCTV of the rescue operation.
I mean, it's ridiculous and completely unconscionable to even utter that kind of thing.
Okay, so let me
have your.
okay, so you know, you mentioned them demanding CCTV footages of the rescue. If the government provides the CCTV footages, they'll say, "What is the government trying to do?"
Yeah, do you mean that when they were carrying out the operations in the forest, they had cameras?
So it's like heads or tail, government loses. If the government did not rescue, government is incompetent. If the government rescues, government staged the rescue. So this is the reason why when you see some leaders becoming insensitive towards the general cry, or they don't take what the people are saying seriously, this is because the quality of engagement that Nigerians are even, throwing to government is not sound enough for anybody who wants to use reasonability as a tool of governance. I was quite shocked when I saw that, or rather, let me rephrase that. I wasn't really shocked because knowing the antecedent of Nigerians generally over, doubting Nigeria and doubting government, they do not actually believe that Nigeria has the capacity to do some of these things they see. They believe it's just only foreign. And like you said, it is the political season. Everything sells. Every bad news sells. Every bad news sells. And instead of us to have good news, let's keep having bad news because that's what we use to change government. So the bad news that comes out, you need to change government.
All right,
but before we go, it's important also we try to bring out of the necessity for Nigerians to appreciate what is working and condemn what is not working. And in order to do that, you first have to create how the things that work. Or be patient enough to see whether it will work or not. But once you decide that I don't like it,
I don't like this president.
Doesn't matter
whether the things they do is working or not.
And like you said, if you really desensitize the government saying, okay, no matter what I do, they will say it's not working.
Not good enough.
And we must understand also that this government is by no stretch the popular government. If you look at how it was elected, Tinubu won 37% of 29% turnout.
All right, sir. Let's go to our third story. We have very limited time. All right. Nigeria has taken another step towards expanding its solid mineral sector with the commissioning of a $200 million lithium mining and processing plant in Zamfara State. The facility, located in Boko Zumi local government area, was inaugurated by Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal. The project is a partnership involving Zam Mining Company Limited, Bima Mining Limited, and Jinide Mining Company Limited. It is expected to create about 2,000 direct and indirect jobs while promoting local processing of lithium rather than exporting raw materials. Governor Lawal said the investment aligned with the state's vision of attracting responsible mining, boosting industrialization, and increasing revenue through value addition. Industry stakeholders says the project is expected to strengthen Nigeria's position in the global lithium value chain as demand for the mineral continues to rise due to its use in electric vehicle batteries and renewable energy technologies. Quick one is what is the economic benefits of this mining plant in Zamfara State?
But let me first say that this is not true. The way they keep up stories, because
It is good news.
It's good news, but it's a good one. At least for Zamfara State that we
for
know.
Zamfara State,
Yes.
this is one of the, if not the
It's the
poorest state,
poorest state in Nigeria.
poorest state.
It's a good one coming to them.
But with a lot of problem. The reason we have heightened insecurity in Zamfara State is because they have gold. They've been mining gold, artisanal mining gold in Zamfara State for years now. You know, so Zamfara is potentially one of the richest states in Nigeria. On that account alone, now you add lithium. Lithium is the hottest mineral in the world now, on account of the fact that it's used in manufacturing batteries for solar and EV.
All right, so I will take your own thoughts on this matter. But will you think that with this now, because this is more organized compared to how we see the illegal mining, now this is better organized. Will this, have any positive response or to stop at least a measure of insecurity that is going on in Zamfara? Just 1 minute. Sir.
Not in the immediacy. In the long term, yes, because we must remember that the workforce or the human capital development required for this factory is not visible in Zamfara at this point. It's not visible.
Right.
We can't see that at this point. But in the long term, if we can follow through the plan, I expect this to start changing things, because these are the things we are yearning for in the first place. That this agrarian state that we have in Nigeria, that is very far from the center, they should have a presence of governance. They should have a presence of development. And this right move, regardless of who the governor is, what party is, what religion is developmental, is good news. I hope that they follow through the plan.
And then they can,
yes,
thank you so much, my guest, Mr. Rashid Oliyange. Thank you for coming. And Mr. Demola Adeniran. Thank you for coming. For more information on our news and reports, subscribe to our social media channel and Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and TikTok. This has been our issues of the day on Citizen TV. I'm Grace Ayenyiko. Have a lovely day.